Hey kids, it's Mr. McFly here, hope you're well, and welcome back to Bike News, the regular feature here on the channel where we take a look back at what's been going on in the world of motorcycles here in the UK, this time for the month of November 2023. Okay folks, so welcome back to the channel, and in a break with tradition we've got 3 MCNs and an Adventure Bike Rider magazine that I want to take you through on this edition. Let's crack on without further ado. One story that I had to bring you out of the ABR magazine, and by the way we don't often feature ABR magazine in here, but it's written by the same people that do the ABR festival each year. Great magazine if you don't want to read so much about bikes, although they do bike reviews, but more about actual adventure bike riding, where to go, what to do, that sort of thing, teach-ins and what have you. The Adventure Bike Rider magazine is pretty good for that. Not an advert, just making a case for it. Anyway, here we go. The story that I want to pick out of here, of course, BMW R1300 GS. The ABR guys have been out on the launch and have actually ridden the bike. We'll be talking more about the new GS shortly, but I just want to read you the verdict from their review because it's interesting because it's quite different to the review that you'll hear me talk about from MCN a little bit later. So just the summary then of the verdict in ABR says here: it might have seemed madness for BMW's team to completely redesign the best-selling and most iconic bike in the adventure market. However, what they've produced manages to take the GS to the next level while maintaining all the aspects that generations of riders have known and loved. And by incorporating the latest riding technology into the R1300 GS while giving it a fresh, modern design, the bike is ready to go for the next generation of adventure riders. That's not madness, that's a stroke of genius. So they give it, the new bike, an absolutely glowing review and think it's amazing. So just keep that in your mind for when we get to the review from MCN. An interesting, different view. Anyway, so that was just the one thing I wanted to point out from Adventure Bike Rider magazine. Worth a look if you've not done so before. And of course, ABR Festival. Well, I just think it's the best bike meet of the year. But again, we'll talk about that later. Right, moving on swiftly on then, so to MCN. First story here, and of course it's been that month, isn't it? November is when all the new bikes come out. We have the EICMA bike show in Italy, in Milan, I think it is, and also, of course, Motorcycle Live as well. So there's been loads of coverage all across social media about all the new bikes that are out. So I don't intend to cover absolutely every new bike that's been released, but there are a few bits and pieces that I want to pick out that I've seen over the month that I thought might be of interest to you. First off, the new CBR 600RR. Says here, CBR 600RR set to fly. It's official. 600cc super sport bikes are back, with Honda announcing a UK return for their CBR 600RR. The new CBR retains its trademark 16-valve double overhead cam 599cc inline 4, and that's the key thing. This is a mid-sized sports bike, a super sports bike if you like, that is actually a 4-cylinder machine, which for me is what a sports bike should be. This thing is going to sound like a Formula 1 when you've got it absolutely going. And the other thing I like about the looks of this bike is they retain the old underseat exhaust as well. You just don't see that much these days. Of course, it's all about getting weight lower, about getting mass down low on the bike. So underseat exhaust kind of lost favour a bit, didn't they? About, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, they seem to be phased out. But good to see it back in the CBR 600RR. Anyway, what else does it say here? The latest CBR produces a claimed 119.4 brake horsepower, tipping the scales at 193 kilograms wet. So nice and light. That's the wet weight, 193 kilograms. So nice and light. And 120-ish brake horsepower, more than enough for the road. This is just going to be a fun sports bike on the road. It says here you get 9-stage lean-sensitive traction control, plus anti-wheelie and rear lift control. 9-stage, unbelievable. Cornering ABS, 3 fixed riding modes, 2 customisable setups. Quick shifter can be adjusted in 3 stages. It's got fully adjustable Showa 41mm big piston forks, 4-pot radial calipers, and it's all shrouded by modern bodywork featuring winglets. So yeah, what a winner that this one is back on the market. It seems that there's been a little bit of a resurgence of super sport bikes at the moment, doesn't it? Come on, Triumph, bring us your Daytona. Yeah, I think it's a good thing, and I look forward to having a go at this one in the new season. Are you excited to see these new 600s back, particularly the 4-cylinder ones? I mean, it's great news. All right, so that was the first story picked out. Next up, another Honda story. Quite a bit of Honda in this month's bike news. Super naked with the Sting. This is the new Honda Hornet, the 1000cc version. So it says here, big brother for the twin-cylinder CB750 Hornet gets the engine from the 2017 Blade. So I just think, the first thing that whenever these new bikes come out, the first thing I look at, of course, how does it grab me from a looks point of view? And I have to say, I think this looks really nice. It's got more than a touch of Ducati Street Fighter about it, hasn't it? Which is interesting, because when I first saw that bike, I didn't like it. But actually, I really do like the looks of this bike. So here we go, 147.5 brake horsepower, more than enough for the road. This is going to be a fun bike. It says here, Honda have quietly ditched their CB1000R Naked for 2024 in favour of a new CB1000 Hornet. It's a bit of a shame. I love the CB1000R. It's a lovely bike. That was the sort of neo-retro type bike. Really nice machine to ride. But I do think I prefer the looks of the Hornet, to be honest. Honda haven't revealed exactly what the new Hornet's power is, stating rather coyly that it will be given more than 147.5 brake horsepower. Okay. The old CB1000R's engine originated in the 2004 blade, which topped out a piffling 172 brake horsepower. Despite identical suspension, the new Hornet may feel more sprightly than the CB1000R, purely because of the rear tyre choice. Instead of a 190 section, it's now 180, which should give the new bike a slightly more agile feel. Honda have not yet revealed the price, but if it follows the CB750's template, it could be extremely competitive within the niche. So yeah, another one I'm looking forward to riding. It just looks like a handsome machine, this, doesn't it? And if it's got the old the blade engine, which is a cracking unit, then this is going to be a lovely thing to ride. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that one as well. Lots going on at Honda, it seems. Okay, next up, talking of Japanese old favourites, the big four, Suzuki. They've been knocking out new bikes like they're going out of fashion. Suzuki's superbike on stilts. This is the new GSXS125 GX, which I think the actual launch for this was last week. My mate Chopsy went on it last week in Portugal, I believe it was. And this is an interesting thing. This caught me by surprise when I saw the the news coming out of bike that this bike had been released, because it looks like the old, well, not old, it was only came out last year, the GSXS1000 GT, but just been sort of pulled upwards, which to my mind is a good thing. I rode the GSXS1000 GT, really liked it as a riding bike, but there's just something about the looks of that bike that I couldn't quite get my head around. So the nose was kind of a bit long, whereas this new version, the version on stilts, like I say, it looks like they've kind of pulled it upwards, and it's had the result of making that nose look a bit shorter. So I think this is a sharp looking bike. I'm a big fan of sports tourers, and I think this might hit the market absolutely spot on. 14,499 on the road. Let's see what it says here. Suzuki are moving into the sports adventure segment with a new four-cylinder. Who knew that was even a segment, sports adventure? There we go. With a new four-cylinder GSXS1000 GX based on the current 999cc GSXS1000 GT. These are tongue twisters, aren't they? With a smidge over 150 brake horsepower on tap, it looks set to go up against BMW's revised S1000XR and Kawasaki's Versys 1000. Well, it certainly looks better than the Kawasaki, I think. I do like the looks of the BMW, but it's always been a bit vibey for my liking. So this, as I say, could exactly hit the sweet spot. It looks a handsome looking bike. The GX becomes the first motorcycle from the brand to feature electronic semi-active suspension, snazzily titled the Suzuki Advanced Electronic Suspension System. Yeah, that took a lot of coming up with. Conventional cruise control is included, so not the adaptive cruise control. Also find a 6.5-inch TFT, which can be connected to a smartphone, big deal. Also included a traction control and anti-wheelie. The GSXS1000 GX wears new front fairing with LED lighting. UK machines to reach customers in time for Christmas at 14,499 on the road. Now this, again, sort of bike that appeals to me. Powerful, comfortable, handsome, and a good price as well. When there are bikes like this around, it makes you wonder whether these are going to start nipping away at the traditional BMW GS customer. We'll talk again about the GS more later, as I mentioned, but the looks of the GS I still find a little bit of a challenge. And there's some things about the GS that have been changed that don't personally appeal to me. So it's, is the balance going to tip in favour of some of these more sport touring type bikes, or adventure touring as they're now called? I do like the look of that. Cannot wait to have a go on that. So I'll have to have a word with Suzuki and see if I can get back onto the A-list and see if I can borrow one of those in the new year. I'd love to have a go on one of those. Right, talking of bikes. Sorry about that. I'm recording this on my new Osmo Action 4. It's the first time I've done a bike news on this camera rather than my GoPro, and it just cut out unexpectedly after, I don't know, 15 minutes of recording. Maybe there's a limit of 15 minutes to each file. I don't know. Anyway, it might keep cutting out. I do apologise. Or maybe it's overheating. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Anyway, where was I? Yes, talking about looks of bikes. Now, very subjective thing, of course. Some people like bikes that I don't like, and vice versa, of course. But KTM, what are they playing at in their design department? For me, KTM's really struggle on the looks department. There are one or two I like. I like the Super Duke, and I like the little baby Duke, the 390. But everything else, these days, it's just not doing it. So this is the new 990, okay? It says here, KTM have whipped the covers off a brand new 990 Duke Naked, which takes over from the departing 890, which I quite like the look of, actually. As before, the Chinese-built 790 Duke will remain. The new 990 provides the final stepping stone towards the ballistic 177 brake horsepower 1290 Super Duke R, producing a claimed 121.4 brake horsepower for its Euro 5 compliant 947cc parallel twin engine. So, okay, there we go then. So I'm sure it'll ride nice, and there are massive KTM fans out there, absolutely. But the way that they've put that sort of, the orange bodywork just plonked on the top in like a strip, it just doesn't work for me. I prefer the look, as I say, of the outgoing the 890. It just doesn't work for me from the side. And then when you look at it from the front, it's got this new headlight that is just absolutely awful. I just can't get my head around why they've done that. Again, I'm sure it will grow on us over time. But the one design feature I did like about KTM's was that waspy, clever front headlight that most of the models had, you know, with the clever heatsink in the middle. And I thought that looked really cool. Now they've got rid of the middle of it and made it just this sort of, well, it's horrible. Anyway, so I don't mean to have a downer on KTM. They have their massive fans out there, particularly off-road. They're amazing bikes to ride. But looks-wise, I find them really challenging. Is it just me? Where do you stand on KTMs, on the looks of them? Let me know down below. And do you like this new headlight, which seems to be the way that they're going for all of the new models now? Okay, moving swiftly on then. Last story in this paper. Luxury adventure beckons. MVgusta's new LXP Orioli brings 9.5 concept to life. It says here, MVgusta have whipped the covers off their first production adventure motorcycle, the luxurious new LXP Orioli. Named after four-time Dakar winner Eddie Orioli, the new 931cc triple is inspired by the Cagiva Elephant he rode to victory in 1990 and is set to provide the springboard for a range of new models. 1990, so they're not harping back too far there, are they? This first edition will be limited to just 500 units, which is incredible when you think it's just 500 units. How much did it cost to develop this thing? It's expected to cost in the region of €30,000, so it's an expensive bike. Rich people only need apply. More of a capable collector's item for now than a serious real-world contender against the likes of KTM 890 Adventure or BMW's new F900 GS. Absolutely. This thing costs an arm and a leg. Does look lovely though, doesn't it? Shame they're only making 500, but hopefully, I don't know why they're only doing 500. Maybe it's a test bed for manufacturing, something like that. But presumably they want to be in this market. Let's look forward to seeing what else MVgusta bring out. And maybe they'll bring out one that's a little bit more in the normal person's price range in the future. So we'll keep our eyes out on that. All right, that's it for the first MCN. Next up, here we go. First story in the next paper. Next level Langan. Now, do you remember Langan? They're the people that brought us the that two-stroke last year. Well, it might have been 2 years ago now, actually, or maybe even 3. A lovely-looking handmade machine, very much a boutique brand, British as well. It says here, Brit firm goes big and beautiful with 1,000 bhp per tonne, Lightspeed LS12. So this is somewhat different to the previous offering. Langan are back with an all-new bike, and it's as far away from their 250cc two-stroke as you can possibly get, I agree. It's the new £44,440 Langan Lightspeed LS12. It's the follow-up to the company's massively popular two-stroke work of art. The Lightspeed is a limited edition carbon-clad, steel tubular-framed 1190cc V-twin, producing a claimed 185 brake horsepower in a package that weighs just 185 kilograms dry. So light and powerful. As its name suggests, low weight was one of the Lightspeed's key design goals. We were looking to shave 30 to 40 kilograms off over the nearest competitor, which is probably the Diavel. It's our strong belief that if you want a bike to handle well, there's no substitute for lightweight. Well, I agree there, lightweight is always a good thing, isn't it? Originally developed by Rotax for EBR to race in AMA, the superbike spec motor's been harnessed by Langan's own ECU. The Lightspeed LS12 will be officially launched at Motorcycle Live, which has just gone, so it's just finished last weekend. So you will have seen it there if you went to Motorcycle Live. We'll talk a bit about that in a minute. The potential owners will be invited to reserve one of the 185 build slots via the website with a payment of £1,000 refundable deposit. So there we go. I mean, again, a bike that not many of us are ever going to see, let alone you know, own. But I do like that these boutique brands exist, and it's a thing of beauty, isn't it? But love to hear it, see what it sounds like. Beautiful looking machine. But 44 grand, I'll be surprised actually if it does come out at 44 grand. It looks even more premium than that to me. Right, next up. Big changes on Stelvio. All new Moto Guzzi uses Mandello Sports Tourer as a base. Now, do you remember the Mandello? Bike that came out with quite a bit of fanfare was it last year or the year before? I was really looking forward to having a go on one. I've never managed to get myself a go on one for some reason. Anyway, Moto Guzzi have come out now with a modified version that they're calling the Stelvio, a name from the past. So Moto Guzzi have brought back the Stelvio adventure bike, but it's a whole new ball game this time around, with the much admired Mandello providing a brilliant base. But the new Stelvio is even more advanced and better equipped than the Mandello, being the first Guzzi with front and rear radar controlled rider assistance, as well as an electrically adjustable screen. At its heart is the all-new transverse V-twin with traditional Guzzi shaft drive, which has already impressed us in the Mandello. Peak power, 113 brake horsepower. The Stelvio has a taller, more adventure-style chassis, plus a 19-inch and 17-inch cross-spoke wheel combination in place of the 17-inch cast alloy items on the Mandello. The price isn't yet announced and availability isn't yet announced, so I don't know when you're going to get these, but yeah, handsome looking thing actually. Again, I still want to have a go on the Mandello because I think that thing looked lovely, but a lot to go on the new Stelvio as well. Do you remember the old Stelvio? I think that was the one that had those round headlights and it looked a bit, well, it wasn't much of a looker, whereas this one is. So well done, Moto Guzzi. Look forward to seeing that one. Again, I don't know whether I'll be able to get a go on one of those. Moto Guzzi are one of those brands that are quite hard to communicate with. But anyway, we shall see. Right, next up, Team Green gets greener. This is the new Kawasaki, which you may have seen on the Motorcycle Live coverage, a hybrid. It's the Z7 Hybrid. It says here, less than a month on from the launch of Kawasaki's Ninja 7 petrol electric sports bike, the firm have zoomed in on the planet-conscious concept and revealed a second naked derivative called the Z7. It's got a 451cc parallel twin plus a 9 kilowatt electric motor. It has an e-boost function triggered by a switch on the right handlebar, which focuses all the power available in a 5-second burst. The Z7 Hybrid will be available in 2 colours and is expected on sale May 2024. Doesn't say what the price is. Just wondered your thoughts on this. It looks quite nice, doesn't it? I mean, it looks, I say quite nice, it looks a bit meh. I mean, if you just saw this and was told it was, you know, a 650cc first big bike type of thing, you think, yeah, okay, that looks all right. But I do wonder who actually is going to buy this. Number one, I don't imagine it's going to be particularly cheap. So I'm expecting it's going to be quite a big price tag when it does come out, based on what other electric bikes have. This is a hybrid, of course, so it's a motor and the electric, so interesting technology. I'm a big fan of technology, so interesting to see that they're pushing the boundaries, and I'm glad that Kawasaki are doing this. But I do wonder who's actually going to buy this. Would you buy one of these? I don't know. I just can't see why you'd buy this over just a standard petrol bike at this time, given that they're still available. Of course, these hybrids have to start somewhere. Some manufacturer has to be the first to develop them. So well done, Kawasaki, for taking the plunge, because this won't have been cheap to develop. But yeah, I just don't know who's going to buy one. Let me know if you're thinking of buying one. Be interested to hear. Okay, next up. Seamless shifting. The man behind Honda's new eclutch reveals what it is and how it works. So Honda very much into new technology when it comes to clutches, aren't they? Of course, I'm thinking DCT. I have it on my Goldwing. It's on the Africa Twin and other bikes as well. DCT, kind of dual clutch transmission, has 2 clutches. One clutch selects the next gear, and it basically ends up like having an automatic motorcycle. But they come up with this new thing now called eclutch, which is subtly different. Let's hear what it says here. Honda have launched a new e-clutch system for the 2024 4-cylinder CBR 650R and CB 650R range, which allows riders to pull away, stop and shift without ever pulling in a lever. So, unlike a quick shifter, this means you can stop and start and you don't have to pull the clutch in, even though you still have a clutch. What's that all about? Honda say the e-clutch is smoother in operation than a quick shifter. Junya Ono, one of the developers, explains the quick shifter is basically cutting the fuel injection to the engine and changing the ignition timing. The Honda e-clutch is doing that, but additionally it's controlling the operation of the clutch. He continues, it allows you to absorb any potential shock from a gear shift by having the clutch almost half engaged. Again, that allows you to start squirting the fuel earlier. That's how it becomes smoother and quicker. Riders will be able to select a level of force required on the shift pedal to make a gear change. There are 3 settings, hard, medium and soft, each of which can be chosen independently for upshifting and downshifting. A symbol on the dash will tell you to change down if it detects the bike is in the wrong gear. Or you can ride the bike as an auto or a manual. So interesting. Again, really love that Honda are pushing the boundaries. Interested in your views on this. Is changing gear part of the whole point, part of the fun of riding a bike, or things like this, does it just make it easier? Certainly DCT on my Goldwing is a great thing, because that's a bike that's just all about lazy, relaxing, long distance touring, and not changing gear actually makes for a very relaxed ride. But I don't know whether this obviously isn't aimed quite at that same sort of thing. This is more quick shiftery, which typically you find, or used to find on sports bikes. We get it on all sorts of bikes now. I do love a quick shifter, and this just means you'll be able to come to a stop without having to engage the clutch. So I quite like the sound of it. We'll see. It depends. Is it going to add a lot of extra weight? Is it going to add extra cost and complexity? We shall see, but Honda are having a crack at that. So again, interested in your views in the comments below, whether you think the e-clutch is a good idea and what sort of bikes you'd like to see it on. Right, next up, price fighters. At under £70 a month, KTM super affordable 790 Duke, which I do quite like the look of, takes on Suzuki and Honda's new kids on the block. So that's the Suzuki GSX-8S, which I rode recently and loved, and the Honda CB750 Hornet, which I've also ridden and loved. So let's see what the verdict is. This a very competitive section of the market. I do like all those bikes, actually. I think out of them all, I would probably go Suzuki, KTM, Honda, I think, but that's mostly based on looks rather than anything else. They all ride well. I've ridden them all at some point. The verdict here, the GSX-8S offers a true big bike feel with a pleasantly torquey motor that delivers everything. Honda's new Hornet delivers that extra excitement in abundance thanks to its peaky, exciting engine and agility. Most surprisingly of all was how brilliant the KTM is. See, they always ride well, KTMs. Just trying to redress the balance a bit. But it's not just a plaything, as the Duke offers a high level of composure thanks to a chassis setup that feels far more premium than the price tag. So it's given the Honda Hornet 4 out of 5, the Suzuki 5 and the KTM 5, but going by the write-up, it actually puts the KTM out at top, which is interesting given that's been around for a while and the other bikes are very much new on the market. There we go. All right, that's that one. One more paper to go, then we'll get onto some parish notices. What have we got here? How are we doing for time? Not too bad. Camera seems to still be holding out. Don't know what the picture quality is like, or indeed the sound. Had a little bit of issue setting her up to start this morning, but be interesting to see how that works. Right, first up here, GSX-8R pricing now announced. So this is the new, again, middle size, if you like, sports bike based on the GSX-8S that Suzuki announced, I think, at EICMA. It looks lovely. I really like the look of this. I'm a bit anti-twins as a sports bike, but the jury's out. I'll reserve judgment until I've ridden it because it does look nice. Suzuki have revealed the pricing for their incoming GSX-8R soft sports bike. Interesting that MCN call it a soft sports bike. So the 776cc parallel twin 8R will be available for $8,899 on the road, with the first bikes arriving in dealerships in February. So just a shade under £9,000 for that bike. Lovely looking thing, looks like a premium machine. Love it in that Suzuki blue. Cannot wait to have a go. And a good price as well, £9,000. At last, some nice bikes, desirable machines for less than £10,000. That is making such a change in it. Bike prices just seem very expensive these days, don't they? But that's it. That seems like a good price to me. I think that's going to do well. Right, Motorcycle Live is go. Thousands of enthusiastic bikers from across the UK have flocked to Birmingham's NEC for the start of Motorcycle Live. So this was last week Motorcycle Live was on. In fact, the Sunday that's just gone was the last day. Just wondered whether you went. I didn't go. I've been to Motorcycle Live for, I didn't go last year, but I went like the previous 10 years on the trot. So I'm taking a bit of a break from it. But just wondered what you thought of it. The last time I went, I was a little bit disappointed. There wasn't an awful lot of new stuff to see. But I think this year, been a bit of a bumper year for new bikes, isn't it? So if you went, did it seem busy? Was there lots to see and do? Were there some bargains to be had? Did you enjoy it? Should I go next year? Let me know, because as I say, I have been for a couple of years. Maybe I should go next year. But picture here looks like it was very busy. What day did you go as well? I'm told Tuesday's the best day to go because it's quietest then. But anyway, interested to hear how you got on at Motorcycle Live. If you went, was parking any better? Did they fleece you for the parking? Right. Life in the old GS yet. Now, you may remember at the start of this video, I talked about ABR's review of the GS, and they basically said that it was great, was the summary. Interesting to read what MCN have said here. I've, of course, read the whole article. It's comparing the old GS, the outgoing 1250, against the new GS. Let me just read you the verdict, and this is from Nevesy, my favourite reporter, journo. He says, the new GS doesn't have the old machine's marshmallow comfort. So let's just stop there. It doesn't have its comfort. Now that was one of the big plus points. For people like me, the target rider of the GS, an old geezer that likes a bit of comfort, for me the whole comfort thing was one of its big selling points. So it's not as comfortable as saying. It says here, relaxed power delivery, so it doesn't have the relaxed power delivery or the Boxer Twins' delicious rawness on and off the throttle. Instead, the new 1300 GS has sporty performance and handling, but not at the detriment of being as smooth, plush and easy to manage as before. Well, I don't think the L1 was particularly easy to manage, although the low weight has always been a good thing on the GS. But so it says here, it has sportier performance and handling, which seems to be moving it more into the segment, doesn't it, of things like the Ducati Multistrada. It's weird because, of course, BMW have the XR in that market already. And again, I wonder, do people buy GSs because they want sporty bikes? If you want a sporty bike, you wouldn't necessarily buy a GS, would you? So I do wonder whether BMW have gone a bit the wrong way with this and may alienate some of their core previous GS loving and buying customers, myself included on this one. Let me go on. The new 1300 undoubtedly moves the GS story along, which is what ABR said, but isn't radically different enough to justify the cost of trading up, and some will still prefer the 1250 GS's more relaxed nature. Very interesting, this, because every other review I've seen so far are gushing about the GS. It's the first one that's been a little bit more critical. Very interesting here, there's a opinion from Alison Silcox, the office manager at MCN. She went on the back of it with the UC. She said, with its square seat pad, the R1250 GS has a large service area for me to perch on, and it's comfortable from the off. I had high hopes for the R1300 GS, but I'm disappointed at its lack of comfort. Now again, that is a massive deal. Many people, I would suggest, buy these GSs because they want to go touring, and probably touring with their missus on the back. Certainly that's what I do. Whether my missus is happy on the back of a bike makes a big deal to me, and of course her. If the 1300 isn't comfortable to her, I won't be buying one. So very, very interesting. It's the first time I've seen a slightly critical review. It's still saying it's a great bike, don't get me wrong. We are, splitting hairs here slightly. But it's not saying that the new bike is that much better than the old one. It's an interesting review. I thought it was a bit of a fresh air to read that. So I don't know, jury's out for me. I sat on the new GS for the first time last week. I was out recording a biker scram with Jeff and Dan that's coming up soon. It's our Christmas special. And we went to Barnstormer at Alton, and first time I've actually seen the new GS and sat on it. And I actually quite liked it a bit more than I thought I was going to up close. It's a quality looking thing. But I still do find the looks a little bit challenging, both from the side and from the front. It certainly felt a bit smaller, but it very much felt, it felt like a different bike. I mean, to be fair, when you sat on it, it felt the seating position exactly like the old outgoing GS. If you close your eyes, you'd say you're on a GS, so it's not different in that way. But what you're looking at, everything else about it is different, and I just wonder whether it's gone too far. We'll see. I'm sure. There's no doubt it's a great bike. I'm sure it rides fantastically. And the jury's out. I mean, I think I've mentioned before that I should be getting one of these on long-term loan from BMW UK, hopefully in the next week or so. So I'm going to bring you loads of reviews of the new GS, because my old GS, my 1200, it's coming up to 10 years old now. So, it's kind of time for a change. As much as I love that bike, the only thing I'd replace it with, really, is another GS. So the question for me is it an outgoing 1250 or is it the new bike? So I'm going to give this a comprehensive test ride, and I shall bring you all my conclusions, including riding with a pillion, touring, living with it for a while, all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned to the channel if you're interested in the new GS. Right, last story before parish notices. Make a bid for freedom. Very good, see what they've done there. Just wondered where you stand on tricycles. Here we go, Harley-Davidson Freewheeler gets a stylish makeover, but is it any better than before? So Harley have always, well not always, but they had a trike in their range. Apparently it was called the Freewheeler, and it's had a radical new look this time. Black detailing in place of chrome, fresh colours and new wheels. They've transformed the previously old school Freewheeler into a thoroughly modern looking trike with vastly improved curb appeal. I only mention it because we don't talk about trikes much here, because for me, trikes are the worst of both worlds. They don't have the convenience of a bike in terms of being able to nip through traffic or parking, things like that. And they don't have the convenience of a car in terms of, not getting wet in the rain, that kind of thing. So what's your view? I mean, they absolutely make sense in some cases. For example, if somebody's disabled and can't ride a two-wheel bike, then maybe this is the next thing. So with that exception, if you've got some disability and it means you can't ride a bike, a two-wheel bike, then they make sense. But other than that, why would you ride a trike? What am I missing here? They look sort of cool, but I think if you turn up at a bike meet, you might not be regarded as particularly cool. Am I being a trikist snob here? I don't know. Interested to hear your views below on where you stand on trikes. All right, that's it for the papers, so it's time for That's it. Parish notices the camera appears to still be running. How are we doing for time? It hasn't shut off again. Isn't that weird? We'll see how it goes. All right, just want a couple of things to let you know. Well, first off, can I say thank you to everybody that watched the live stream that me and Mrs. Fly did last Friday. We had a right hoot doing it. It was good fun. We had pretty much for the whole time that the live stream was on, well over 1,000 people watching live, which is absolutely mind-boggling. So thank you very much indeed. It's very humbling doing that sort of thing. I mean, we just had a few drinks and a bit of a laugh, and the comments all seem to be very positive. So thank you for that. We will do it again. It was over a year since I last did a live stream. I'll try not to leave it as long, but maybe every 6 months or something. If you haven't seen that one and you fancy it, if you've got a spare hour, go and watch the recorded version. It was fun to do. Anyway, so thank you for everybody that watched that, and particularly those that managed to do it live and commented and everything else. Great fun. All right, what have we got here? Oh yeah, a few have asked whether I'm going to do a Christmas gifts type of video. I used to do those every year. Well, the answer is probably not, no. But if you want any Christmas gift ideas, things like this shirt, for example, don't forget to go to my website, www.themissingtheflyer.com. All sorts of things there for sale in my merch shop. If you want a little snappy Christmas gift for the biker in your life, there's plenty of things there, ranging from neck buffs from about a tenner all the way up to fancy hoodies and things. So do go and check that out if you haven't looked at it recently. Or indeed, if you want to get the loved one in your life a ticket to the ABR festival that I mentioned earlier, don't forget you can get 5% off with my discount code TMF5. If you use TMF5 at checkout at the ABR website to get your tickets, you can get 5% off, and that is well worth having because the ticket's quite expensive because it is a whole weekend affair, but still excellent value, I think. All right, coming up then, the next video is the first video on Saturday of my Japan tour that we did in throughout October, finished at the beginning of November. Absolutely epic tour, amazing cultural experience. Cannot wait to bring you those. Turns out there are 10 episodes. I'm going to show them every Saturday, starting this Saturday coming. I so hope you enjoy those videos. I think it's the best tour that we've done in terms of the videos that we've made. So do look out for those if you like touring videos. That, as I say, starting on Saturday. Then on the 6th of December, I've got more garage stuff. I know that people love to see me doing things in the garage. So there's some more of that coming on the 6th of December, so keep your eyes out for that. We've got on the 13th of December, I've pre-recorded a Your Questions Answered. I've got loads of outstanding questions from previous versions of Q&A, so got one of those coming up on the 13th. Reason why I've had to pre-record this stuff, by the way, is because as I speak, I'm in a sling. I record this video, I'm recording on Monday to go out on Wednesday, but tomorrow, Tuesday, or yesterday to you, I had an operation on my shoulder. So as you watch this, I'm actually in a sling now and can't actually ride my bike. So I've had to make these in advance. So that's what that's all about. Anyway, then we've got the Bikers Grand Christmas Special. That's coming up on the 20th of December. Hope you enjoy that one. Hopefully 27th of December, so after the big day, I'll be taking my first look at the new Triumph 400s, the Scrambler and the, can't remember what it's called, but those new bikes that are being built in India as the part of the joint venture that Triumph have. Cannot wait to see those. So that's coming 27th of December. And then the 3rd of January is when I'm scheduling the next one of these, the next bike news. So stick that in your diary. 3rd of January, next bike news. All right, that's it for this time. Hope it's turned out all right, this video. Again, a bit of a risk doing it on the new camera, but you've got to try it at some point. Let me know what you think of the sound and picture quality. All right, look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been The Missing the Fly. Oh, happy Christmas as well. Right, see you next time. Ciao.
Hey kids, we're the Missing the Flyers.